Hello, happy Labor Day weekend if you are watching in real time. I am Heather. I am the teacher behind the English department, and you are probably watching this channel right now because you're an AP language and composition teacher. That's my guess because I've been putting out a series called 180 Days of Lang where I'm going through my AP language lesson plans day by day. And more to come on those. If I have the time and energy, I might actually record some of those videos for Unit 2 today. So if I'm in the same clothes, that's why. But today I actually want to talk about my other main English class that I teach because don't have AP Lang all day long. I know there's a few people in the world who do. That sounds both exciting and terrifying, but I like a little variety. I do actually teach 4 different classes in an 8-period school day. So besides the 2 sections of AP Lang, that I have a reading intervention class, which is going to get its own video. That has been one of the most unexpected delights of my teaching career is this class, and I've got all kinds of cool things to share on that, but that's later. I have, for the first time ever, a public speaking elective, which has also been so much fun. I've been developing my own materials for that because I'm shocked to see that there's really nothing for a semester-long speech course out there, especially if you don't have like a textbook for it. And it's a required course at our school. It's for sophomores. So I've been working on some really good materials that are working super well for the student so far. So I'm going to keep field testing them throughout the semester. But if you also teach speech, maybe look for that in my TPT store over Christmas break or something like that, because I think other teachers really need those, because I couldn't find like what I was looking for, which is why I'm making it myself as I go. But anyway, the main other core English subject area that I have this year is 9th grade freshmen. I am in a little school district, so in the high school, I have all of the freshman classes. There's 3 sections, and they asked me what I wanted to teach when I got there, and there was some negotiation about AP Lang and some other things, but I said, give me the freshmen, I'll take them. I love teaching 9th grade. I love having one foot in upperclassmen, like those super motivated college-bound seniors, but I also love having the other foot in underclassmen English. And not just because I love like a lot of the core texts that come along with your standard freshman English class, I really do, but I don't know, I just like having the weird curiosity and joy that they come into in high school where everything's new. They're not top of the heap 8th graders anymore. They're almost like babies again. Like they're just starting over and everything is a new experience. So I love it. So this video is going to be all about what's working for my freshmen, and big learning curve. I've taught freshmen for many years, but just, you know what, like the school culture is different here. This group of kids is different, as I'm sure they'll be different again next year. And my environment is really new, and I'll talk about how that's actually led to some good choices for my students learning as well. So what I have today are just from our first 2.5 weeks of school, 5 things that are really working for my freshmen. And in fact, if I had sophomores and regular level literature classes, I would be using them in those classes too now. Okay, so here we go. Number 1, like I mentioned, I'm in a new school, and the classroom, I could not get it set up by the start of school. We had a huge HVAC project happening, and honestly, it's amazing. I have like lovely functioning air conditioning in my classroom. They ripped out the window units that used to be in there. We're gonna have geothermal heating, and it's great. The classroom has a few of the scars still from the last minute finishing that they're still doing their best to work on and get it all done by our open house. But because I couldn't just have 100% of everything set up, some of my routines I had to come up with on the fly. For, are they going to keep their books in here? Where can they keep their books in here? Then I found somebody left like a baker's rack style bookshelf by the rollaway dumpster, and I made my husband carry that up to the 2nd floor from my room. So like, and then yeah, so all of this to say that the routines came a little bit later as we got started on the first few days of school. And that was super helpful because I realized that what I used to do, I'd go in, the whole classroom would be set up, and I'd come in the first, second day of school, I'd be like, here's 5 routines we're going to do every day. Go learn them. And it was chaotic. And then I'd get frustrated. And it's, oh yeah, that's a lot for them to take in times 8 classes in a day. Everyone's got different rules about what they can keep in the classroom, where they put stuff, what they need to bring, especially ninth graders when the world is still new to them in many ways. So because those routines just naturally started to exist for me, like one a day the first few days, that's what I was introducing, and then they've been able to follow them a lot better. So like, why have I not been doing that this whole time with my other classes? So that I'm keeping. Scaffolded, like structured and scaffolded routines, just like we would for content. All right, the second thing, now let's get into some of the like academic stuff. I have, my biggest classes are my freshman classes, and my room is like deep. So I don't have the biggest classes in the building, but the room is deep. There's a lot of kids, and I have, just like in every classroom, I have a few kids I'm noticing in every class that are really quick to raise a hand when I ask a question, and I have some kids that are very reluctant to raise a hand even if they know the answer. So this is a strategy I've used for years. I just find myself implementing it a lot more right now. It's just a way to help yourself with wait time. If you struggle with that, I ask a question. What is the adjective they use to describe the main character in paragraph 10? And 2 kids, got it. Normally I would just call on them and they would say nervous, and then we move on. But I want everyone to engage. So those hands go up and I say, okay, 2 people know. And then more people start putting their hands up. Okay, 5 people know. All right, let's see if we can get at least half the class to find that adjective. Remember, an adjective is a describing word. More hands start to go up because they needed that background. All right, hey, we have that. Wow, 2/3 of the class. I bet if we wait a little bit longer, more people can find it. And then I'm walking around and I'm realizing one kid is in a different story in the book and another kid doesn't have their book. And I know the first couple kids have been sitting there forever waiting to answer it. And honestly, what I end up doing is calling on one of the last kids to put their hands up because I want to check in with the more reluctant people. So just a little, not a game, but just a strategy to help them get more time. So it's not the same few kids that are really quick answering questions for them. Give everyone time to process. Narrating the wait time has been a good one, and that obviously works with any class, any subject. All right, so the next thing we've been doing, our first assignment bombed, and that was totally on me. We read a short article in our textbook. And by the way, my freshmen are using the My Perspectives series, and I love it. I've used it for years because it's hard to find a physical textbook anymore, and these are consumable workbooks. So they can write in them, which is amazing. But they were supposed to write a summary of this nonfiction piece, and the directions they gave were pretty vague about how to write a summary. And I said, hey, just make it 4 sentences, bring it tomorrow. Well, they were really all over the place because I did not give them a lot of support for that. And I took for granted that like they're not using this series coming out of junior high, whereas my previous students were, and my junior high teacher prior was like really training them in objective summaries, and these kids like either just forgot or they didn't have that like as consistently. So what I did was I made a little handout with sentence stems for nonfiction summaries and sentence stems for fiction summaries, and we did a model correction together. And I told them, like, guys, this one's on me. I didn't end up putting it in the grade book, but we need to learn how to do this. And so then I had them fold it in half and then put it on the summary assignment page in their textbook after the next story that we read. So when it was done, it was like, we need to write a summary. Oh, look what's in your book. Let's do this. And they were way better because they had those supports. So we'll grow out of the sentence stems, but just providing that tool for them was really helpful because I'm realizing that is maybe not a type of writing that they've done a lot of, and that's fine. This is our time to learn it. Okay, so the last, I don't know why I've never thought of this before, but the last kind of like teacher hack that I've learned for getting kids to answer all parts of the question. Literature teachers love to have these multi-part questions disguised as one question. And so if you use My Perspectives, they always have these like, analyze the text or analysis questions that follow the story. And listen to this one. This is question 1. A, cite details in the opening paragraph that describe the bay and the beach. B, why does the bay draw Jerry's attention? What does it represent to him? Explain. So it looks like a 2-part question. It's really a 4-part question because we have 2 things with question marks to answer in part B and a prompt to explain, which means do more. And they might not know in part A that cite details means they need to quote it. Because this was our first one that we did, I had them bust out highlighters, and I'm actually going to try to insert a picture here of what it looked like that I had students do. We highlighted the different sections of the question, and then I told them to write on their paper, cite means quote. So just training them in how to answer the questions was really eye-opening for a lot of them. For one, they groaned when they were like, oh, that's a lot that we have to do. But they had plenty of time for it, but I do have kids that will just read the first part, answer it in a half sentence, and move on in the past. So I think this is going to be a helpful way for them just to learn how this book works and how these multi-part rich literature questions in a high school literature class look sometimes. So I told them you're always welcome to highlight the parts on any prompt that I give you. You don't have to, but that's just another strategy in your toolbox. All right, the last, I guess this is a strategy. This is like not a everybody has to do this thing, but it's nice if you can, that has been absolutely working for my freshmen is stickers. And I know a lot of you probably already use these. So I'm talking about the die cut laptop water bottle stickers. I get mine on Amazon usually, like just sticker packs. I try to go for specific themes. So like I have a bag of them that are Highland cows, and another one that's like football players, and another one that's like cars. Sneakers is a really popular category. And then I have some that are like aesthetic, cutesy ones. I have a massive sticker collection now. I would say the fastest one I've gone through was my SpongeBob sticker set that I had a couple years ago, but obviously not something teachers should be expected to do to buy incentives for their kids. But I started using stickers instead of candy for 2 reasons. One, lots of food allergies, and I just no food, nothing, don't want it in the classroom. And 2, I would eat all of the candy that was in my desk. Couldn't help it. So like I realize it's better for everybody if I don't keep candy in my room. But the stickers, I just have a sticker box, and the first day of school, one of my like station things I did with my freshmen was, hey, we're gonna do stickers as rewards if you do something really well in here or you win a review game or something. But go ahead and pick out a first sticker and add it to your English folder. Because I have a broad category of these, that was a really interesting way to find a talking point. Like I had a kid that grabbed the car envelope that like told me immediately, oh, I hate reading, I don't like English, and then started naming every single car just out of a vague outline of a sticker. And he's my car guy, and we talk about car stuff. So it's an interesting way to figure out what they're interested in, especially if they don't want to talk. I will caution you though, you need to preview all of the stickers that come in a pack, even if it says it's for kids or for school, because you will find some that have like weird translations into English that say inappropriate things, or certain plants that are not ferns that will be like in the decoration on stuff. So pull those things out. You don't want to get fired over that, but just go through your stickers before you make them available to students. For a few years, actually, if I was getting new packs every year, I would take all the random inappropriate stickers and mail them to my best friend with no context. And she loved it. She would get like these like random stickers every year that I couldn't give to kids. So here's what they've been motivating to students. Like they've asked, like, when do I get a sticker? What can I do? What can I do to get a sticker? And so that was a reminder to me, what kind of challenges can I add to it? So one that I did when we did the summary of our first short story, we have vocabulary words that we've been working on within the text, and there's 6 of them. And I challenged them, if you can use 3 of our vocabulary words correctly in your summary, I'll give you a sticker. You don't have to. You just have to write the summary. That's the assignment. But if you can get 3 of those words in there, yeah, you get a sticker. And I would say out of my 50-ish freshmen, at least 40 tried and did it successfully. And a couple of them were like, they got 2. And so we had a conversation about where they could get a 3rd one in. And yeah, so just like pushing them to stretch a little bit further. That was like a super simple motivator. And they're really not that expensive. You can get like big packs of them for $5 on Amazon. And depending on how many kids you have, that might last you a while. I don't do them every day by any means, just like for little special things like that. Maybe A's on tests or meeting some sort of goal or something like that. But stickers, super motivating to high school kids. All right, that's plenty for today. So that has been 5 things that are working for my freshmen so far this year. If you are interested and you want to hear a little bit more about how I'm doing the underclassmen English stuff, the 9th grade things, let me know, especially if you have like specific questions. Because I'm a literature teacher too. I know I've been talking a lot about lang stuff here lately, or speech things. And like I said, I've got lots of thoughts on teaching reading intervention in high school, and I am adoring it. So that is totally going to get another video, but have a great week, everybody, and drop me a question if you've got one in the comments. Make sure that if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you're not already subscribed, subscribe, because I'll be doing these coffee chats when I can, and certainly continuing on with 180 days of Lang videos. Have a great rest of your weekend and a great week ahead.